Welcome to L13 Homework Notes. We will start with create a query to produce the total number per invoice, generating invoice number and invoice total in the results, sorted by the invoice number. The invoice total is the sum of the product purchases in the line that corresponds to the invoice. So first you want to show the databases to ensure that you use the CH07 cell code database with the use statement. Then show your tables. Show tables. Now query the invoice table to understand how it is populated. Select star from invoice. You should also select from line, since that is a table we should be using. To get the total, or sum, you will need to use the sum function, which returns the sum of an expression in a select statement. Use this by calculating the product of line units times line's price. So you will select invoice number, comma, and we could go ahead and use the round function in addition, round, then the sum function nested within the round, line units times line price, comma, 2, and that is how many places the round is going to go. Use an alias as invoice total from line at the table. And we want this per row, so group by inventory number, and then also order by inventory number. List the 10-digit phone number of customers who are on the invoice table and where the area code is 615. Show the customer code, the customer last name, and the customer phone number. Sort by last name and make sure to not show any duplicate entries. To avoid showing duplicate entries, use distinct in the select statement. This will get rid of all the duplicates. Most of the fields come from the customer table, but you will need to join the invoice table in order to only display customers that exist in both tables, which means the inventory table. So select distinct customer.cuscode, cus underscore L name, cus underscore area code, comma, cus phone from customer table, and then join invoice table on customer.cuscode equals invoice.cuscode, and then a final clause where customer.cus area code equals 615. You can order that by customer last name. The phone number looks awkward, so use the concatenate function to combine the area code and phone columns into a single column. We write that as concat. You can also use an alias to make it more readable. So to redo it, select distinct customer.cuscode, comma, cus L name, use the concat function, and then pass in the values in the concat parentheses, cus area code, comma, and then with single quotes, we can put a dash here to make it more readable, comma, cus phone, and parentheses. Then alias as customer phone from customer. Then we're going to join invoice on customer.cuscode equals invoice.cuscode, where customer.cus area code equals 615, and order that by customer L name. In the next exercise, provide a summary of line prices for purchases made. Include the minimum price, maximum price, and average price where customer code is greater than 10014. This will require a join of the line table with the invoice table to get the customer code. We will also need to use functions min, max, and average. Select min line price as an alias, minimum price, comma, max, M-A-X, again line price, alias as maximum price, comma, and then we can wrap average with the round function, average line price as average price from the line table, join the invoice table on line.inv number equals invoice.inv number. And then finally the clause where invoice.custcode is greater than 10014. Remember that the where clause is going to apply to both tables after the join. For the next exercise, you will find the listing of products that were not purchased during the invoice period. You want to check the line table. Sort the results by P_code. Display the product code and product description columns. First, let's look at the product table, and then we need to check the line table to understand how they are related. We can see that we need to select P_code and P_descript from the product table. We want to only display those products that are not in the line table, indicating their presence in the current invoice table. This is a good opportunity to use the subquery, also known as a nested query. A subquery, or sometimes referred to as a subselect, is a select query embedded within the where or having clause of another SQL query. The data returned by the subquery is used by the outer statement in the same way a literal value would be used. Subqueries provide a simple method to handle the queries that depend on the results from another query. The select statements used in a subquery have few restrictions. Important restrictions include a subquery must always appear within parentheses. A subquery must return only one column. This means you cannot use select star in a subquery unless the table you're referring to only has a single column. You may use a subquery that returns multiple columns if the purpose is row comparison. You can only use subqueries that return more than one row with multiple value operators, such as in or not in operator. A subquery cannot be a union. Only a single select statement is allowed. If you wish to return more than a single row of values within the subquery, you need to use a comparison operator. This will enable you to return a list of values. The in operator checks if a certain value is in the table returned by the subquery. The not in operator filters out the rows corresponding to the values not present in that table returned by the subquery. Perhaps this is a good operator to use. The any operator is used with the comparison operators to evaluate if any of the other values returned by the subquery satisfy the condition. The all operator is also used with the comparison operators to evaluate if all values returned by the subquery satisfy the condition. In order to produce the results of finding the listing of products that were not purchased during the invoice period, first we need to select P_code, comma, P_descript, and we could alias the last one as product description to make it easier to read, from product table, where, and this is where we get into the subquery, where product.P_code not in, select P_code from line. This is the subquery. Notice that we are putting that in parentheses because it is a subquery. Order by P code.